the male.
Good afternoon, Catherine Roberts from the Rutherford BHH Museum, again, here to test you. I'm here to say you do have an opportunity right now. In light of what's going on with dissatisfied, unhappy young people around the country, Queenstown development of an enormous and beautiful museum district is a tribute to young people, to learn about heroes, learn about the accomplishments of families and their good citizenship, creating this community. We need to think about that because this is not just an economic development for tourism, but the impact it has on young people that need to have a sense of place. This is that sense of place. It's a beautiful story of positive role models and achievements of families who are under severe restrictions of the Jim Crow laws. So it's your opportunity now. The Yates Museum is prepared to provide whatever type of cultural, anthropological assistance, engineering, whatever is needed to help you create this district. And the Preservation Coalition is doing the same. And this is the time, but you do need to rescind the current contract. It calls for removal of the brick streets, which ultimately will damage what little is left of the integrity of those streets. The bid that was entertained at $5.5 million. According to a second finest ranked trenchless design engineering firm, Hatchmod and McDonald, that same project, including trenchless, would be between the figures you were entertaining of $3 to $6 million. So it's not prohibitive. But you do have to have the right design firm to do the design for microtunneling, get those utilities put in, electric, gas, water, and sanitary lines under sidewalk easements using these various microtunneling and other trenchless methods. And then work a careful repair, preserve and repair of the historic brick streets. It can be done. Many cities who have historic streets have ordinance in place with very clear descriptions of how they repair in place without totally removing all the streets. It's your challenge. Do you want to take this opportunity right now, put Houston on the map to create a really fine historic district with the children need and we need. Also, we'd like to assist with that design project and bring forth our helpers with the new design, and also go back to 106 review, and this time do it without circumvention and without.
Thank you, Ryan. Your time has expired. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts, for coming in again. You mentioned repair, and Pastor Smith mentioned the potholes. So my question is, what will be the difference? And I don't know because I haven't studied this. Like you have. What's the difference in the repair after you do the microtunnel, repair the bricks, and picking them up and repairing them?
When you remove,
if you did the other, yeah.
Right. If you do the wholesale removal of bricks, you destroy the integrity of the historic patterning, which makes it no longer researchable. It's like moving houses off of the original archaeological site. You disturb everything. And also, putting utilities, putting bricks back, you already said in your report you don't have enough to put back. So really, when you take them all out, you're going to lose another 10% breakage because they're not being removed by hand. Obviously, that was something the mayor said wasn't possible. So really, you don't want to do that. Repairs can be done for those potholes, and they're not as cost effective. I mean, they're more cost effective than removing all of the bricks.
And what do you do with the portion that has the asphalt?
The asphalt can be removed. There are several methods. One of them is polar blast, and they use pressurized frozen pellets, and they essentially freeze it. It's used a lot in the oil industry for spills. Polar Blast is a company that does this, and they do it in place. And then you just sweep up the pellets of the asphalt on the surface. Then you can get to repairs. Now, where are the places where the bricks are gone? Because they have been repaired, they've been laying around loose, and those are gone. We do have have some stored, because I know myself and several other student volunteers are handling those pallets, 13 of them, and sorting them. So we can insert some of those, and can do a lot of methods to put those back in place with flaring underneath in a cement base. That's one technique. And then where we don't have enough bricks for those patches, we would propose the metal plaques, and I think I put that in one of your packets. And the plaques would be like our markers. They tell stories of who lived on the block. So it's part of the walking tour. When you walk down the street, you see beautiful brick in place, then you see metal plaque, you read the story, and you move on. It's a marvelous way to not have to then introduce new materials except for the metal historic plaques.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts.
Councilmember Watkins.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Roberts, will you be at the meeting this evening?
Yes, I know. I'm
Okay.
looking forward to it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Green.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts. Ms. Roberts, you were also responsible for working with the restoration of the Jack Yates home, correct?
The Rutherford Yates house, yes, the son of Jack Yates.
So how do you reconcile with the fact that we actually had to move that house from its current state to restore it, to get it to a place whereby we're able to firm up the foundation, if you will, and to get that house when it had to be moved from its foundation? Was the historical significance because it had to be moved in order to shore up that foundation? Did we lose it with regard to Yates? And how can you say that then, if in fact with what they're saying here with regard to restoring it, how do you reconcile it?
Well, the Jack Yates house is the one that was moved. I wasn't involved in that process. That was moved from its site next to the Rutherford Yates house from the Yates homestead in Freedmanstown, and the family couldn't afford to restore it. And so it was moved to Sam Houston Park. Once it's moved, it loses its National Register listing designation.
Okay, so you're saying that that house has lost its historical significance?
It's, the house itself is historical, but its National Register listing, because it's no longer on its original homestead where the archaeology and the family first built it, that would have given it a higher value.
So if the bricks were moved to take care of the infrastructure issues, put back in its same place,
It's still, no,
loses
because
it
that's a
because
different thing. That's called the Texas Cultural Property National District. Texas Cultural Property it has to do with the actual culture, the practice of religion, or daily activities of the community. And since the patterning has a Yoruba religious connection to it, you don't move that. And even a good archaeologist wouldn't participate in removal. They would participate in documenting it and researching it in place.
Right.
And then keeping it in place.
Right. I just motion to exclude.
Opposed, motion carries.
I too will be at the meeting this evening, and
Okay.
just want to make sure that we all understand that we are looking for a solution here,
Yes.
and that, with regard, obviously preservation, for some of us is the way we want to go, but there may be instances, especially where you have instances of crumbling bricks, things of that nature, where the archaeologist comes in and says, we can't do it this way. I hope we all have open minds today on how we handle this situation as we move forward. But I want to thank you for being a part of this and being involved with this and bringing this to everyone's attention. You have the attention of the entire city on this particular project, and we look forward to hopefully getting a resolution today.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I look forward to that too. The bricks really don't crumble. They've been pressure tested. They don't crumble. They break on impact when they're
Thank you.
mishandled.
Thank you.
And Mr. Lamille, to be followed by Mr. Richard Blankenship.
Good afternoon, City Council. My name is Roy Lamell. I'm a friend of the African American Library at Braden School, as well as a member of the Fourth Ward Pathfinders. The group is in New Orleans today, and I didn't make the trip. That's why I'm here to represent them. But the main thing they want you to consider is rescinding the June 11th decision. Two, they want to request that they do micro tunneling in under the sidewalks instead of the streets. And also that would be better for future repairs as well. And number three, they wanted to preserve the brick streets, which those streets, as you know, were laid over 100 years ago. The bricks in Rome were laid 2,000 years ago. Those bricks are still there in place. So there's no reason why those bricks that are there in Fourth Ward on Andrew Street and Wilson, where I grew up at, cannot remain there. In the 50s, I was a paper boy. I threw paper all over the Fourth Ward. I know that area well, and I know that those bricks, when you ride on them, whether you're on a bicycle or a car, there's a difference with the feel of those bricks. And for them to remain in place would be critical for the city of Houston, for a tourist attraction, for raising funds, for people coming to this city. When you go to other cities and other areas, you go to historical like Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, places like that, they maintain what's there and they don't move it. Because as she's saying, architecture-wise, to remove it would be the worst thing you could do, because then you take away any value that it has, historically as well as physically. The next thing is to include the community more so in the decision that you make. The National Historical Preservation Act of 2007, along with the decision that was made by Miss, what's her name? I'm losing my place here. Sheila Jackson Lee, when she negotiated in 1984 to have this funds and everything for this restoration of Freedmen Town, which is the first settlement. And since that time, at that time there was like 568 historical structures in that community. Now there's less than 30 historical structures in that community. So that means that over 500 and some structures have been lost in just that short period of time. And that short section, which is less than a mile, is critical for the history of that area.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
very much
Your
for your
time
time.
has expired. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Councilmember Green.
Thank you, Mr. Lamel, for coming out. I appreciate it, and you're absolutely right. I think focus needs to be on really a preservation of the entire of the area. When you talk about the number of structures that has been lost in that period of time, you know, it's an issue. And so I think what we need to address and what we're going to try to address is the master plan. What does it look like from a whole, so that once all of that is taken care of, we know what it's going to look like moving forward. Buildings that need to be preserved will be preserved and tag them. We know how we want it to look, and we have a process to move to that point. You mentioned something with regard to the preservation of the bricks in Philly. Bricks in Philly were restored, if you will, to the site. They went through a restorative process. They were not preserved because the archaeologists thought that that would be the best way to handle the situation. So I'm just, you know, this
In that
is
situation, yes.
yeah, and so that's why I want everybody to have an open mind on this thing. Okay, because if we don't
And
get
you see it wasn't.
exactly, some will require different ones, and I think that's why we've been asking for your archaeologists to come forward and things of that nature to talk to who the city has with their archaeologists. So perhaps there can be a meeting of the minds as to how we go forward. Obviously, preservation is our first way to go, but if in fact our experts are telling us different, then we have to be in a position to listen. And so I hope today everybody's in a position to listen. Thank you.
Councilmember Boykins.
Thank you, Mayor. And let me thank you, Mr. Ramel, and the entire delegation for bringing this to our attention and staying on top of it. And your voices are being heard. I'm looking forward to see what can be done to make this thing work according to what's right for the community. And you can count on my support for that. I understand the historical part of this. I want to commend the team for taking time out to explain to me why it's so important and why you're concerned to do it a certain way, why your concerns are
Thank you.
or of concern, and it's valid to me, because I understand what y'all trying to do. We will do whatever it takes. I look forward to this evening's meeting. I think y'all have a compelling case. I hope the engineer and the contractor that you guys are considering, that are proven to be able to do the kind of work, will work, the whole deal will work out to where it can be beneficial to the city and to the residents.
It will be.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Anything else?
That's it.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. White.